All right, so I'm just going to share the screen and then I'll stop sharing and then you can share, Caroline. Okay, let's do this. Yeah, just like Chaplain James said. Okay, hello and welcome to a very special Saturday Spirituality group. Join us for a talk with podcaster Caroline Chang, host and producer of Awake to Oneness Radio, who will share her journey of spiritual awakening. After experiencing profound personal losses, she discovered the powerful healing of forgiveness and the interconnectedness of all living things. Her talk will provide a path to understanding oneness and finding peace through letting go. Welcome, Caroline.
Thank you so very much for having me. I'm very honored to be here. So, um, let's see. It's okay for me to share now?
Oh, yes.
Okay. All right. I am going to share. All right. And let me go into slideshow mode. Okay. I know things go a little bit slower when it's connecting. Okay. I'll click slideshow mode again. There we go. Can you guys see that okay?
Lovely.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
yeah.
All righty. So I am gonna, like I said, I've made my presentation a little bit shorter for you guys, and I am gonna go into it now. I love Dan's introduction. One little mistake. My awakening was several years before the transition of my son. I launched my podcast a few months after he passed, but my awakening was several years before it, thankfully, because I don't know if I would still be here if I didn't have an awakening before that had happened. Okay, so we're gonna go. My journey started at a very young age. I Ever since I can remember, I had a connection to what I now know is my higher self. My parents sent me to Catholic school at a very young age, kindergarten through fifth grade. I was in Catholic school, and in Catholic school they teach you religion daily, like had as a subject. And I remember as young as 5 years old, sitting in religion class, and my inner being, my higher self, would say to me, nope, what that gentleman, that priest in front of the class is saying to you is not accurate. Now, my father was like, children are to be seen, not heard. So at 5 years old, I'm telling myself, okay, I'm not feeling like the information coming from this adult is accurate, but I'm a child, and my father said I'm supposed to be seen and not heard. So I told myself at a young age that, okay, I have to wait till I'm older and actually find the truth on my own, because I didn't feel like spiritually I was being told the right thing. Okay. So as I got older, like I one of the first books that was I had a crush when I was about 15 years old on my first boyfriend, and he was very much into making money. So he said, read this book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I read it because I had a crush on him. So of course I'm gonna read what he tells me to read. And but what I got from that book was my first introduction to our thoughts are actually creating our reality. That was my first intro. So I never, in my entire life, it was never about making money for me. It was always about understanding who I truly was. And that book at a young age was my first introduction to the thought that our thoughts actually are creating our reality. Okay, so now I'm older. I'm older now, so now I can actually go out and start reading metaphysical books and studying spirituality on my own. And back then, I'm talking about the 80s. There wasn't much. It's not like it is today. But I devoured any metaphysical and spiritual material I could get my hands on. Now, I got to a point like towards the end of the 80s, I got to the point like, I'm really, really understanding this, and this is resonating with me much more so than what I was taught in Catholic school. Okay. This was resonating with me, but there was a part of me, my inner being was saying, you're missing one very important piece. I remember that. And I'm like, well, what is it? So I'm like, okay, I just knew I was missing something, but I didn't know what that something was until I want to say this was 2007. In 2007, I watched the film What the Bleep Do We Know, which is all about quantum physics. I honestly, at that time, did not know much about quantum physics at all, but I was glued to this documentary, and it was, it resonated with me. But there was actually one sentence. Her name is Lynn McTaggart. She's not a scientist. She's actually a journalist. And she said that in this documentary, she said, the biggest problem in the world today is the illusion of separation, that we're separate. That we believe that we're separate. That is what's causing all of the problems in the world today. And when she said that, it wasn't an intellectual awareness or knowing. It was a heart. It came from my heart and soul, where it said, that's what you're missing. That's the one piece that you need to understand. We're all one. There's no separation. Now, for eons, spirituality has been teaching the truth of oneness. Spirituality and ancient wisdom has been teaching the truth of oneness for eons. But quantum physics just started teaching the truth of oneness about 120 years ago. So it is not new science. It's actually pretty old science. I'm not sure how much you can read the titles here because they're kind of being blocked out from me. But it's what I have there is quantum entanglement and the unified field, which basically said, now quantum entanglement, Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. He didn't like it. He was like, this doesn't make any sense. The meaning that everything is energy. Everything is the same energy. And that energy is interconnected and interdependent. So when one particle moves, the other particle moves simultaneously with it. There's no distance to travel. So like there's a saying about when a butterfly flaps his wings, it affects the entire, not just the entire world, but the entire universe. And in science, they call it the unified field. So quantum entanglement is telling us that everything is the same energy. It's interconnected and interdependent. So when one thing changes, it affects the whole. And now in quantum physics, they call that the unified field. Now, the truth of oneness is when to understand the truth of oneness, when you look into another person's eyes, you realize you're looking into your own eyes. You realize that person, regardless of what that person is doing, that person is not separate from you. That's the true understanding of and knowing what oneness is. But I also talk about oneness not from the intellectual mind, but from the heart and the soul. There's a big difference. Okay. Now, this is something I learned in 7th grade that I'll never forget. When I was studying atoms and molecules in 7th grade, my 7th grade teacher said, nothing is truly solid. And I was like, huh? What are you talking about? Nothing is, this desk, it seems solid to me. You put anything under a high-powered microscope, what do you see? You see tiny little particles that we call atoms, and those atoms are not even touching. So they're always moving. So when we put anything under a high-powered microscope, we see that it has life. There's movement. That's energy. It has life, and it's not solid. It's literally, there's nothing touching. So it's not solid at all. It only appears to be solid. And then even an atom is the building blocks of matter. An atom is 99.99999% empty space. So even the building blocks of matter are not even solid. And I did learn that in 7th grade. Okay, humans can see with our visible eyes, we can see 0.035% of what is actually surrounding us. And it's like here we have this band where it shows you that little colored band, visible light. So gamma rays we can't see, X-rays we can't see. What's that? UV light, ultraviolet light, sorry, interfered rays, I'm saying that wrong, radio waves, FM, TV waves, short waves, a whole bunch of these things we can't see, okay? We know that they're around us because science has instruments that can detect these things, but our physical eyes cannot detect these things. Okay, so the human senses, our human senses, 5 human senses, sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell. With those combined, we can detect about 0.4% of what is actually surrounding us. So it tells us that our human senses are extremely limited, extremely. Now, how many of us have heard people say, if I don't see it, I don't believe it? How many people have heard people say that? You hear people say that all the time. So now when I hear a person say, if I don't see it, I don't believe it, I say, well, that means you're discounting 99.6. Am I saying that right? Trying to do the math in my head. But 99.6% of what is actually out there, you're actually ignoring and discounting because your physical senses cannot detect it. And this we know from science. Okay, now there's a big difference between knowing something and believing something. Okay, knowing something comes from your heart and soul. A belief comes from the mind. Okay, let's talk about believing. Believing is intellect, what we learn from the time we're born, from our parents and from teachers, what we read in a book, what we hear on the news, those things we listen to, what we hear in a church or at a lecture, in college, or what we believe comes from outside of us. It's a belief, and it comes from the brain. So, and again, our beliefs we gather from our extremely limited human senses. But again, a belief comes from outside. Knowing comes from your heart and soul. I know it. I don't know exactly how I know it. I know with me, I've always had this connection to higher self, and I know when higher self is speaking to me. So a belief, I call that intelligence, and heart and soul is wisdom. Now, the other thing about a belief can change. So what the beliefs you have in your mind, if someone tells you something new information tomorrow, you could have a belief today, and somebody gives you new information about that topic tomorrow, you can totally change your beliefs. So beliefs can change, but a knowing that comes from your heart and soul, that's wisdom, and that never changes. Okay, mind versus heart intelligence. I don't know if you guys are familiar with heart math, but heart math has done many experiments that will prove that the heart intelligence, yes, the heart has intelligence. The heart intelligence is far superior than the mind intelligent. It could be, I think, maybe 10,000 times more. I can't remember the exact number, but the heart math has done many experiments, and it has proven that our heart is far more intelligent than the mind. And the best state to be in is when your heart and mind are in coherence, meaning your heart is your heart is in the driver's seat, okay? And your mind is in the passenger seat, but they're communicating with each other. The heart, your mind is listening to the heart instead of the other way around. Where we many times as human beings, we all have this higher connection to our inner being, or whatever name you want to call it. We all have that. But so many times in our humanness, we will ignore what our heart is telling us and just follow the mind. So for me, I tell my mind to, stay in the passenger seat, but sometimes I tell my mind, get in the back seat. Okay, I'm not listening to you. I'm following my heart. Okay. So what is oneness? Now, oneness is not a religion. Now, I remember when I first launched my podcast, Awake to Oneness Radio, I got these questions like, what is this, a new religion? No. For me, oneness is the complete opposite of a religion, because oneness says we are one, regardless of your religion, regardless of your color, regardless of where you were born or raised, regardless of anything exterior. We are one. Now, for me, this is me. I believe religions are man-made. Sometimes I will ask someone, what religion do you think God is? Okay, because God doesn't have a religion. God, all that is, source, universe, whatever name, Allah, whatever name, Jehovah, whatever name you want to call God. To me, God has nothing but unconditional love. And as human beings, we like to put God in our image. We like to think of God as a man. God is not a man, okay? But God is all there is. The tree outside is God. The blade of grass is God. There's nothing separate from God, and we're not separate from God ever, and we're not separate from each other ever. And many religions will teach that we are separate from God if we don't behave, if we sin, then you're going to be separated from God forever. No. So for me, understanding the universal truth of oneness is not a religion at all. To me, it's the opposite of a religion. It's that we're all one regardless. Okay. 2 types of collective consciousness. Now, there's 2 types of collective consciousness, because again, we're all connected. So our consciousness is connected. Separation consciousness brings us war. Separation consciousness tells us that we're separate from those people over there in a different country. So we can bomb that country because we're separate from them. Unity consciousness tells us we're all one regardless. And that brings us peace. That brings us unconditional love and peace. So the world right now is pretty much in separation consciousness. Separation consciousness will bring us poverty, hunger. That was hunger. The first slide was hunger. So separation consciousness will bring us hunger, will bring us severe poverty, homelessness, illness, disease, and all of this illness to our body and disease that comes from separation consciousness. Also, crime, mass shootings, and more war. That's what we get with separation consciousness. When we think we are separate from each other, then we believe it's okay to hurt that other because I'm not hurting me, I'm not hurting God, I'm hurting that other that I determine with my limited human senses is a bad. So unity consciousness brings us peace on earth. Okay, unity consciousness brings us unconditional acceptance of another, unconditional forgiveness of another, and unconditional love of the other, regardless of if we agree with them or not. It's not about agreeing, it's about knowing that we are one with each other and one with God, all that is. Okay, science has proven that everything is the same energy vibrating at different frequencies. Okay, so it's the same. That's the important part. It's the same energy. It's not different energies. It's one energy. It's one source. One energy, one source. So quantum physics is teaching us that we are truly sovereign, divine beings of light, that we're all this one energy, each of us. We are connected always. And we couldn't even have, we couldn't even have the technology we have with quantum physics. Without quantum physics, people don't understand that we wouldn't have a smartphone or any of those things without quantum physics. But anyway, humans judge and label things bad or good from what? From their limited human perspective. So we remember, we talked about what humans can perceive, which is 0.0 or 0.4% of what is actually around them. So with that limited human perception, we judge, oh, that person's bad. Oh, that person's good. All right, this is bad. That's good. We're judging with very limited perspective. Okay, quantum physics teaches us, because we wouldn't be able to have this Zoom meeting right now without quantum physics. It's the smart grid, which is the internet of all things. Everything is connected. We wouldn't have our computers, we wouldn't have our smart TVs, we wouldn't have our smartphones, we wouldn't have anything if it wasn't for quantum physics. Everything, you don't see wires connecting everything to each other, right? Everything is connected in the unified field that is quantum physics, that we have discovered that everything is interconnected and interdependent. And that is how we have the technology that we work with today. Okay, ancient wisdom, science, science, quantum physics, ancient wisdom, and spirituality are teaching us the same thing. It's teaching us the universal truth of oneness. I love the symbol, the yin yang symbol. Hope I said that right. With the light and the dark, because the light and the dark is equal, meaning the light is not separate from the dark. So when we're judging something evil, when we call something evil, and we're saying that is bad and it's evil and it's this and it's that, we have to understand it's not separate from God. It's not separate from all that is. We all come from the light. We are light beings. We are holographic light beings of all that is. And holographic means you're not a drop in the ocean, you're the entire ocean in the drop. Each one of us is all of God in the drop. And the dark is for a reason in this matrix that we live in. The shadow, I like to call it the shadow. The shadow is the catalyst to awaken us. But it's always the light will shine. It takes a tiny bit of light to shine on the shadow. And once that light shines on the shadow, it transforms the shadow back to light from which it came, because everything comes from the light. Okay, my greatest challenge. Okay, let me see. Our greatest challenges. Let's go to our greatest challenges are our greatest blessings. And that's the title of a book that I'm writing right now. I am a published author. I have chapters in other books, but I'm writing my first book, which is our challenges are our greatest blessings in disguise. And our challenges are there to help awaken us, to help us remember who we are. We chose to come. We chose to be born. We asked to be born. And we created all of our challenges before birth. We knew what challenges we were going to have, and we created those challenges to inspire us to remember and to awaken to who we truly are. Now, my journey with my son Kyle was born in 1984. I had to think about that for a minute. November 24th. He's a Thanksgiving baby. Some years his birthday is right on Thanksgiving Day. He was born November 24th, 1984. And my son transitioned from this life experience on July 1st, 2014. And as I said earlier, it was my son's transitioning that inspired me to launch my podcast, Awake to Oneness Radio, because I said to myself, I'm here for a reason. And I'm here to help inspire others to awaken. But my awakening to oneness was actually in 2007. And thankfully, I was blessed to have that awakening before my son's transition, even though there's a long backstory behind that, but I won't go into that. Now, my daughter, I have two children. I have two children. My daughter Nakia came into this life experience on October 26, 1980. She's older. She's 4 years older than her brother. And my daughter transitioned from this life experience on December 5th, 2022. So, and I don't know if you can see that one. I have a grandson. My daughter is holding her son in that last picture. I don't know how well you can see that. But anyway, so those two challenges that I had were planned, meaning I know my children are very much with me. And it was a soul plan before my birth for them to leave this life experience before me. I've been told from spirit by my son, I have a mission to do, and I'm doing it. So, if you guys, I'm going to share my playlist with you guys on YouTube, and you can find out more about my journey especially with my son. Anyway, who we truly are. We are unique, holographic, multidimensional aspects of God. All that is and source, whichever terminology you use for all that is, because we're all that unique, holographic, multidimensional aspect. Okay, unique. Let's talk about each one of those words. Unique means regardless of our physical differences, regardless of our religion, regardless of our politics, regardless of our race, regardless of where we're born on the earth, regardless of anything, we are one and we're unique, and we're supposed to be unique. So, meaning we're supposed to have a different religion. We're supposed to have a different skin color. We're supposed to have all these differences because all these differences make us unique. And so what we want to get to is unity within diversity, meaning we don't all have to be the same to love and respect one another. Because that's what it is about. It's about love and respect, regardless if we agree on religion, regardless if we agree on politics, regardless of our differences. I can sit down and have a conversation with anybody I never argue and I never debate. I listen to them and I ask them to please listen to me. And at the end of the conversation, we may not agree on anything, but I'm hugging on them and they're hugging on me. We're loving on each other because you can share your differences without arguing. See, what we humans do a lot is try to impose our beliefs onto another person. That's the only reason people argue is they're trying to force another person to agree with them. If you just allow that person to have their difference and they allow you and you allow them and you share, and at the end of the day, at the end of the conversation, you're like, okay, well, I see we don't agree on everything, but I still love you because I know you are an aspect of me and all that is. So unity within diversity is what is very important. Holographic cell of God. Okay, when I say we are a holographic aspect of God, my favorite quote is Rumi. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop, meaning each one of us, we're not a part of God. We're not different little parts, pieces of God. We are all of God in a drop. Each one of us is creating our reality experience. We plan it before birth. And when we're born, we are creating it. But we're creating, and the plan is not just a straight line. So it's not like you're like, okay, I'm going to be born this time. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. No, that's the plan looks more like a spider web because every time you make a decision, you go off in a different direction. So the plan does not look like a straight line, but you do come to Earth. You want to be incarnated and you have certain goals and certain things you want to do while you're here. We all have a soul mission. And to me, the best thing is when we discover our soul mission and start living our soul purpose. Okay, your power is in the now moment. In spirit, there is no time. There is only the now. I know a lot of people like to use the term reincarnation. I don't use that terminology. It's simultaneous incarnation. Every life that we've ever lived, this present life, and every future life is happening right here in the only time that there is the now moment. And I love what Einstein said, time is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. Yes, we have time here in this matrix. I call this the 3D matrix. We have time here just to kind of keep kind of things in order, I guess. But their time is not real. So what I call, a lot of people like to use the term reincarnation. I don't. I say simultaneous lives. Okay. Okay. Science has proven that we are living in a simulation. We're living in the 3D matrix. It's not even real. It appears to be real. Yes. It appears to be very solid and it appears to be very real, but it is really a dream of our own creation. It's not, it's like putting on, let's see, next slide. Yes. It's like putting on those virtual reality headsets. I've never had one on. So I don't know if you guys have ever tried. I've never tried it. I was like, I'm not putting on a virtual reality headset. You know why? Because this reality is enough of a virtual reality to deal with. Okay. I don't need to put another virtual reality on top of this virtual reality. But I know a lot of young people have a lot of fun with these virtual reality headsets. Now, to wake up in the dream of your own virtual reality, all we have to do is take off the headset and realize, wait a second, that was just a dream. As I had said to you guys, I have been a speaker at the IONS conferences for the past 6 years, which is International Association of Near-Death Studies. And what many near-deathers come back with, where the first thing they realize when they leave their body is that, wait a second, they look back down at their body in the bed or wherever and say, that was just a dream. That wasn't real. None of that was real. It was a dream of my own creation. So when we take off the headset and realize this, what we're experiencing as life, as this life experience, as I call it, it's a dream of our own creation. Okay, dimensional, meaning, again, I think I mentioned this before, there's the only time there is the now. And we are living this now. This has been, I've actually experienced this, and I got to share this with you. Okay, not this year, last year at the IONS conference, I actually met two different versions of the same person. Okay, it was a Wednesday afternoon, and I wasn't alone. So I have witnesses to this. Okay, it was a Wednesday afternoon. I was with two friends, and we were walking down, we were at the conference, we're walking down the hall, and they run into a friend that they know that I didn't know. They knew this friend from their Zoom meetings. And they're like, oh, and then that person who I didn't know comes up to me and says, hey, Caroline, you know me. We're friends on Facebook. My name is Vision on Facebook, but then she holds up her name tag, but my real name is Somo. She's Asian. Okay. And I'm like, okay. I think, she's really excited to meet me because she knows me from Facebook. I don't really know her, but she's like really excited to meet me. And so but I'm so glad that my two friends that knew her from Zoom. This is the first time they're seeing her in person, but knew her from Zoom. Were able to introduce me to her, and she was like so excited. She's like, you know me. We're friends on Facebook. So I'm like, okay. So that was 1:30 in the afternoon on a Wednesday. Now, Friday, so 2 days later, in the evening, around 6 p.m., I go down to like the dining area, and I'm alone, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, I'd love to find someone to have dinner with, okay? And then Somo, she comes up to me and she says the same exact thing. She's like, hi, I'm Somo. My name is she said it exactly the same. You know me. We're friends on Facebook. On Facebook, I'm Vision, but my real name is Somo, and she's holding her name tag up in front of me. Now, I didn't say anything in that moment, but I'm thinking to myself, why is she repeating herself? Okay, this is going to freak you out. So I have dinner with her, right? And as we're at the end of dinner, I say to her, you know, when I met you the other day? She said, what do you mean when you met me the other day? I said, when I met you on Wednesday afternoon, and I was with Sean and what's her name? I can't even think. I'm bad with names. But anyway, I was with Sean and the other lady. Remember? She's like, what are you talking about? This is the first time I'm ever meeting you in person. I'm like, wait a second. And I literally take her to where we met. I'm like, I met you. You said that. She's like, she was on a plane. This version of her was on a plane at 1:30. She said at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, no, that time, 1:30 p.m. She was on a plane from New York on her way to Arizona. She didn't check in to her room till about 6 p.m. that night. I met two different versions of the same person. And I've heard of multidimensionality, that there are many versions of us out here. I've heard of it, but I literally experienced it. And I still stay friends with her today. But I literally, because she was on a plane and I said, what were you doing at that time? She was actually sleeping on the plane when I met her in Arizona. She was on a plane from New York, and I met her, a different version of her. And I know the difference is the first version of her had longer hair and wore her hair in a ponytail, slightly longer hair and wore her hair back in the ponytail, and wasn't as glamorous as the second version. The second version had shorter hair. She never wears her hair in a ponytail, and she was a little bit more glamorous. But I literally met two different versions of the same person. So that's multi-dimensionality. It's also called the many worlds theory in quantum physics. That every time we make a decision, so say, like even today, I was deciding what to wear today, okay, and I was looking at two different outfits, okay, there is a version of me that wore that other outfit, okay. Anytime we make a decision, we split because one part of us is going to go with the other decision and the other part of us. And so there's many versions of us walking around. And I can testify to it because I met one. Anyway, two versions of the same person. Okay. The most important thing is that we wake up in the dream of our own creation. Like I said, I met many people who have had near-death experiences. And the first thing they say is what they realize when they're out of their body, looking down at their body, they get the sense that their whole entire life was just a dream. And it was a dream. But the important part to remember, it was a dream of your own creation. And the other important part to remember, the only thing we take from this dream is our experience of it. So it is an important dream. It's not that it's not important, because it's not real. It's very important. We choose to have these experiences for our soul's evolution. So that is so when you are looking outside of yourself, that's another important thing. Understanding that we are sovereign. So a lot of times we look out of ourselves for a guru when your true guru is inside of you. Okay, it's okay to follow other teachers and whatnot, but understand that your true guru is not outside of you. We also look outside of ourselves, especially religions. We look outside of ourselves for a savior. And the truth of that matter is the only person that can save us is us. Okay, our true savior is inside of us. Okay, now true happiness, now I know you guys have heard this. True happiness is not outside of us. We think, okay, if we hit the lottery, we have $1 billion, we'll be happy. I always use Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston as examples. When people say, okay, Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston had everything money could buy. They had fame, they had the money, they were not happy. Money does not buy happiness. Knowing who you truly are and living your soul purpose will bring you true happiness from within. Okay, now we come to the end. I didn't want to go too long. I know that Dan said about 30 minutes. So, all right, so I'll hit stop sharing. Okay, did I put you guys to sleep? Because it's so quiet. It's like if I seeing people snoring, I hope I didn't put anybody to sleep.
Not at all. I loved it. Thank you so much. And the last little thing is something that I've been playing with for a number of years because I'm into semantics. And I studied the word happy. And it turns out that happy actually comes from an Old English term hap, which means luck. And therefore, happiness to me is conditional. It's based on the circumstances of your life. What is not conditional is joy. And we are born in joy. This is my particular approach to the whole story. But yes, it's been a wonderful discussion. I also want to say there's an interesting thing we can all do. Put your hands together right now. Now, every one of you probably believes that your hands are touching each other.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe you're not, Caroline. You may be the only one who knows that they're not. Do you know why they're not touching each other?
Because of the
No.
energy, the
There's an energy
molecule.
field. There's an
Yes,
energy field that is
yes,
making us feel like our hands are touching each
but
other.
they're not.
They're
Right.
not.
That was taught in What the Bleep Do We Know?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
what
and I
that's
love that movie. That
Yes,
movie,
yes,
that movie was very inspirational for me.
yes.
I had a similar kind of experience as you'd had with Somo, except mine came in a lucid dream. So on a Wednesday night, I had a lucid dream, woke up Thursday morning. Saturday morning, I'm going to my email. But so let me tell you the lucid dream. I had a dream that I saw a wonderful woman speaker. She was blonde and she was very, very talented. And I was very struck with her. And I remember going up in the dream and talking with her and saying, I want to learn more from you. That that Saturday, I got an email of an invitation to learn from Dr. Sue Morter. Did you ever see Dr. Sue Morter?
I met her in person at a
Oh,
conference.
okay.
I
Okay,
met her in
cool.
person.
Well, she's a blonde and she is brilliant. And what was one of the first things she taught us was that everything is energy. And she also introduced me to the bus stop conversation, which was a mind-boggling concept at the time. But now I have embraced it completely as I've been studying quantum physics. By the way, have you read Paul Levy's book,
Familiar with
Quantum Revelations?
I'm familiar with his work. I met Sue at my first conference in 2015. I was invited to go to a conference in Agape. Reverend Michael Beckwith
Oh,
was
yes.
one of my
Mhm.
first guests. This is like right when I launched my podcast. Michael Beckwith was my first guest, and he invited me to be his VIP guest at his conference that was coming up there, and I met Sue there. Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Caroline,
Yes.
can I ask you a question?
Of course. Yes.
Have you ever read any books from a man named Sidney Banks?
I'm not familiar with that name.
Mhm. Uh, it's amazing because a lot of things that he talks about are exactly the same things that you're talking about.
Oh,
And the science of quantum physics, I'm very interested in science and I love science. And it's almost like the more that we know, the more that we find out, the more we realize we don't know.
yes. Yeah, here's a thing, because you both, Harvey asked me and you asked me about reading. I'm careful when I say this, but for me, it was a spontaneous spiritual awakening, and it was that one sentence that Lynn McTaggart said. The biggest problem in the world today is the illusion of separation. So for me, it was like I said, I didn't like have an aha moment from the brain. I had a aha moment from the heart and soul, and my soul was saying, that's the missing piece that you needed to know. And just knowing that, I've not read a thing. Haven't read a thing. Just knowing the truth of oneness, I understand it all. So, but I hesitate to say that because I don't want people to think that I'm arrogant, because I'm not. It's just the simple knowing. Not see, a lot of people say they understand oneness from here. That if you don't know it in your heart and soul that there is nothing separate, then. But to me, that knowing, so I never heard of that particular author you mentioned, but I know truth is truth. So I know that it is transpiring in other realms, as you would say.
I
Yes.
just want you to know that I'm totally in alignment with what you're talking about. I understand the difference between uh, belief and believing in your thoughts as opposed to listening to your heart, to the wisdom that we all have inside of us. We're born with it.
Yes.
It's there. We just move away from it. We hold on to our thinking, and we don't listen to what's really the important thing that guides us all, every single person that's ever born. And we have all kinds of challenges and things that are real, but at the end of the day, we all have that source, like you talked about. And for me, it's an ongoing seeing. I like, we're human beings and we go back and forth. We see it and then we don't, and then we see it and we don't, and it's a constant back and forth. But after a while, just being aware that I have the ability to go back and listen can make any challenge surmountable. Any challenge.
Yes.
So anyway, I just wanted to say that, and I don't think there's any one person that has all the answers, or it's up to us to figure those things out for ourselves,
Exactly.
right? We
Exactly.
are
Because
our own gurus, like you said.
yes, exactly. And our paths, our path to awakening is unique for every soul on the planet. You're not going to have, just like a near-death experience is not going to be the same. You're not going to have an awakening experience exactly the same as another person. Your awakening experience is uniquely your own. So yes, that is
Yeah,
true.
and sometimes we have the false belief that we have the answer, and we get excited and we want to tell somebody else, and we're forgetting, no, 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 no. This is a unique thing to me. You just want to point them in the direction of they can find it for themselves, because that's the only way you can find it.
Exactly. And I've always said that since day one, since I launched my podcast 10 years ago. I am here to inspire, meaning inspire you to go within and tap into your truth within. So I'm just sharing what resonates with me and sharing my awakening journey, but I'm just sharing that to inspire that other person to go in and find that within, because I didn't find it outside of me. I found it within me.
Yes. Thank you. I would like to get in touch with you after this.
Of course, of course. Yes, yes, yes.
You guys can exchange phone numbers and emails
Okay.
in the chat. You can private message each other. And
I'll share it with everybody. Let's see.
oh, okay.
Where's chat? There's chat. Okay, I'm gonna share it with everybody. Okay.
So let's hear from some folks who have remained silencio. Chaplain James, you're usually quite a vocal young man. Chaplain James, what's on your mind?
Carolyn,
Yes.
I agree with mostly everything you say.
Okay.
I believe it's it's finding your truth. I also believe you can help people find their truth. Because they most of the time they
Mm-hmm.
may be going in a different way or
Mm-hmm.
making a left turn when it should be a right turn.
Mm-hmm.
You can assist people, but it's mostly them.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Definitely we can assist. That's what we want to do. We want to, I like to say inspire. That's just the best word I can think of, because inspire, we want to inspire even our children. We want to inspire, encourage them to make better decisions. But those decisions are, at the bottom line, they're going to make their decision. But we do want to inspire them to make the best. I'm sorry, I'm trying to give you guys my information and typing in, and I can't see with my glasses on. But anyway, but yes, so Captain James.
Chaplain James.
Chaplain. I said, I don't know why I said it looks like Captain.
Another promotion.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And Stuart, Harvey, anyone, if I have Caroline's information. Oh, you put it in? Oh, all right.
I put my home landline, which is the easiest number to reach me.
All right.
Okay, but I also put my cell there.
All right. Let's see, who else do we got here? Hello, B. Valentine. Welcome to the group, B. Valentine.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here.
Any thoughts on anything?
Very empowering and impactful group. Thank you.
All right, very nice. Eric, is that Eric Stout? I don't know. Hello, Eric.
Not much to share at the moment since I just came in, but glad to be here.
That's right. Well, welcome. Let's see, Marcel, how are you doing? What's on your mind, Marcel?
Well, that was very interesting. A lot of new ideas to me, but I'm taking it all in and contemplating it. So.
Very good. That's what we're meant to do with new information. And
Yeah.
Angela, are you able to talk? Sorry, I'm here, but not in a position to unmute. Gotcha, Angela. Actually, Angela said something in the chat. Let me open up the chat. She made a comment in the chat. Let's see if I can find it. She says, I believe that God is a myth, but I totally believe in the reality that's behind the myth. Wow, that's something to think about. We'll chew on that.
Well, it's interesting. I'm not sure how much she heard of the presentation, but I said God, all that is, source, universe, whatever name. See, we as human beings, we try to make God into our image. Okay? God is not a person. God, okay, for me, okay, God is unconditional love. I say it all the time. God is unconditional love, and that love is an energy. That love has been proven scientifically, it's an energy. And that love is intertwined with everything. There's not an ant, not a plant, not a tree. That's not God. So when she said God is a myth, I'm thinking, I could be wrong. I'm thinking she's talking about the God of religions. Okay. But when I say the word God, I'm talking about all that is, and there's nothing separate from God. And we can never be separate from God or each other.
Let's see who else we got here. This is fun for me, actually. Let's see, we got, Karen Smalls. Hello, Karen Smalls. Are you able to talk, Karen Smalls?
Hi, hello, everyone. Thank you, Caroline. I apologize because I came on very late, so I didn't hear a lot of what you said. I did love a lot of the message that I did hear. The unity within diversity. We all are made from source. There's no time, like time is not a reality. Spirit is eternal. Just different, that we're created. Well, I don't know if you said we are created in God's image. I do believe that. So I just love a lot of the messages that you portrayed. And it's not this is not a but. I just know that in our free will choice, which I know is a gift that we have, we get that choice to choose our paths. And I believe, in my opinion, that's where separation comes because we choose our own reality and our own path. What I keep going back to in my 49 years of existing in this world is the Bible, not religion, the Bible. And that therein brings me to an additional space where there is a all loving or selfless and giving God, creator. I totally believe that, that we are all connected and created from. But then, when I read the Bible, it talks about other things too. It talks about sin. It talks about darkness. It talks about, so, and I just wonder where that fits in, but you, again, we all have free will choice. That's the beautiful thing about being in this existence and being created. But that's also, to me, the bad thing, because that's where the wars are, and that's where us judging each other, and that's where us not choosing to love each other. So it's like a like you said, a yin and a yang thing.
Well, you said you didn't see all of the presentation, so I'm not sure if you saw the part where I talked about separation consciousness and unity consciousness, because it's a separation consciousness that creates war, poverty, hunger, sickness, disease, illness, you name it. All of the problems that we experience in this 3D matrix come from one thing. That's separation consciousness, that we believe we are separate from God and we believe we're separate from each other. When I say God, I'm not talking about the religious God. I'm talking about God is all that is. And we are a holographic aspect of all that is, meaning we are all of God in a drop. And a lot of, I know, religious people have a problem with a problem with that statement. But we are holographic. Holographic means that the all is in the tiny part. Like, the best way is how Rumi put it. You're not a drop in the ocean. You're the entire ocean in a drop. And our experience of this reality, we chose when we were in spirit. We knew we have to go through what they call the veil of forgetfulness. We knew to come here to have this life experience. We chose to forget everything, forget who we were, forget our past lives, forget our future lives, because they're all happening at once. Forget everything. We chose. We're like, I want to go down there and I want to forget everything, because we could not have this experience if we remembered who we are. We just couldn't. So we came here to have this experience, and each soul came here for a unique reason why they wanted to have this experience. Yes, it is all free will, but it's not just free will here in this 3D matrix. It's free will when we decided to come and be born.
Wow. I think it's such, it's beautifully said. I do respectfully disagree with that. I have heard that before, that someone else has shared that with me, that we choose to come here before we actually come here. I just, the problem that I have with that is because of the way that I came here and the challenges that I came into upon coming into this existence, being born addicted to drugs already, being born with so many disabilities mentally and physically, being born into a family of a lot of abuse, and a lot of abuse that was occurred onto me as a child and growing up. And I just have a hard time believing that I chose that path. I do believe that once I was brought here, once God gifted me existence, that, therein came my free will choice. I just have a hard time believing that I chose that path. And then when you say separation consciousness, I respectfully say that for me, that in my opinion, that sounds like, again, not religious, just for me, the Bible. The Bible to me is not a religion, it's just a reality, it's just a truth. For me, I'm not, and I'm really praying and hoping I'm not pushing anything of my reality on anyone else's. I'm just sharing what my reality is. For the Bible, the separation consciousness, for me, that means being in agreement with, and I know when I say the devil, when I say darkness, when I say principalities, of course, religion kind of gets into play. And I really don't mean that. I just mean a separation from God's plan for us. I don't mean it. And I know it's confusing because when I say the devil, when I say, then that comes into play a religion. And when the Bible speaks about it, it doesn't speak about it to me in a religion. It just speaks about it to a reality. That's separation consciousness to me, being separate from the ultimate plan that we were created. Like you said, the oneness, the love.
I'm a little confused. Wait a second. I'm a little confused because it sounds like you're saying, because basically what I said is separation consciousness is the cause of all of the problems on earth. And it sounds like you're saying that too, but I'm a little confused. Are you saying that or not?
Yes, I'm saying that. I'm just saying that when you say separation consciousness, I label it as the devil and darkness and those principalities. So, but I know that also can be a trigger for others when I say that, because the devil and darkness and stuff like that is usually affiliated with different religions, as you know, it could mean different things to different people depending on what they grew up with and the path that they've been taught. Um, it's just a reality to me of this existence. That's what the separation consciousness is to me. And, but I love your
seems like
overall.
You're saying we don't agree, but the things sound, what you just said about separation of consciousness, we agree. So I'm not sure, but the other thing you were saying, you shared a little bit about your life, the challenges in your life. I don't know if you saw the part where I talked about challenges, because I have two children, and both my children are no longer in this life experience. And I know that I chose that experience before my birth because it happened. And I have been told from the other side, from my son, not my daughter, but from my son, that it was a soul plan. And they chose me to, before my birth, they chose me to be their mom. And they said, but Mom, we're not going to hang out in that place called Earth that long. You've got a mission. You have to stay there longer than us. And I agreed to that. Didn't have to. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not burying two children. I could have said that, but I agreed to that.
I did. I don't think I heard all of it, but I did hear that you did share about your children, and my condolences, you know, because I have two children, and I just really respect and honor your strength and the love that you're sharing, because I could not even imagine how to continue to exist in this world.
I have other videos that actually go more in detail with my son's journey. And I did doctors told me my son would not live in 2011, and I tried to kill myself. Okay. He pulled himself off life support and lived 3 more years. And he did that for me. He did that so I would get ready to do what I came here to do. So, and I shared, I didn't go into details in this presentation, but I do have longer presentations on YouTube that goes into that. And I actually have a presentation on YouTube where you can actually hear my son's voice from spirit telling me, Mom, you have a mission to do and you're doing it. That's how I know everything that I'm experiencing is a soul plan. So I've tried to commit suicide 3 times in my life. That was the last time in 2011. And when he did transition in 2014, I was at complete peace because I knew, number one, he wasn't going anywhere. I knew it was his soul's time, meaning every soul comes into this life experience in perfect divine timing for that soul, and every soul leaves this life experience in perfect divine timing for that soul. So I knew it was his time. I knew he wasn't going anywhere, and I knew it was a soul agreement he and I made before my birth. So that's why I could be at peace. Now, people always, when they hear I have 2 children in spirit, I always get, oh, I'm sorry for your loss. Oh, condolences. I hear them and I understand why they say it, but they don't understand. I'm living my soul purpose through my children who are not gone. Like I said, we can't see but 0.4%. They're right. My son is right here. My daughter's right here. You can't see them, but they're right here. And when you know it, not just believe it, when you know it, you live with joy, the joy that Harvey was talking about. You live from a place of joy, knowing that you haven't lost anything and you're living your soul purpose.
Wow. I just really love your transcendence. That's what I love. I love your transcendence. And I just thank you for everything that you've shared. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Can I just say one thing real quick? I'm sorry. I think that it's hard for us to see in the moment sometimes the challenges that do come our way as something that was actually needed or was something that we needed to see something different. At the time, it seems horrible, horrific, terrible, but somehow we made it to where we are. And there's always that possibility of seeing something more from it and kind of embracing that. And Karen, I would say to you, you've gotten to where you are because you have accepted those challenges and you have gone through what you needed to go through. I'm not saying that's something that was pleasant. I would, I feel for you in my heart, but at the same time, you are here listening to us speak, and maybe something that you heard today will help you in your journey. And that's all that we can do. That's all that we can share is our own experience, and then you have yours. And I think Carolyn would agree that this is the work that we do. This is the work that we were meant to do, right? Because we all have our journeys. We all have an exterior that people see, but they really don't see what's really inside of us. Only we know. That's it. So that's my wish for everybody here is to be able to see what's inside of them and that beauty and that unlimited potential and strength and power, whatever you want to call it. So thank you, Dan, for providing this. I do enjoy these Zoom calls and learning from different people and having an open mind and really being able to listen and hear something new and feel for my fellow human being, and have that experience because that's really where it's at. That's really what makes me want to be here. Thank you.
When we see death as not the bitter end of all and everything, if we transform our perception of death to see it, like Caroline mentioned, as a transition with the possibility of reuniting, then and also that feeling that we're still connected even if their bodies aren't here, provides such great comfort to us, and the fear is diminished of our own looming deaths and the deaths of others whom we're sure to lose even before our own.
Yeah, that is so profound.
Yes.
Thank you, Chaplain James.
Mhm.
So we have about 9 minutes now. Oh my God, the clock. I was like, we have 10 minutes, but the clock said, no, you got 9.
Yeah. I put my website in with spaces. It's awake2onenessradio.org is the website. And I'd love for you guys to check out my YouTube, which because I have a playlist. If you're interested, I have a playlist of all my presentations that I've done for IONS and other Zoom meeting presentations. I have like about 10 presentations that I just recently put in a playlist to make it easier for people to see if they're interested.
When I send out the video to everyone on the list, everyone here, hopefully, and everyone who hasn't shown up, who can watch the video, this video, I will also include information about your playlist, about your website, and maybe if you want to include an email or a phone number,
Sure.
that's up to you.
Sure. Yes.
Karen,
Oh, go ahead.
Karen,
Yes.
Karen, do you know me?
Yes, I've spoken to you in the past, Chaplain James, a long, long, long time ago.
Okay, all right. I was just checking. It's getting overwhelming these days. No, what I put is I basically agree with her. I agree with her a lot, except some tweaks here and there. I tweak what she said a little bit here and there. I also put my info in there to you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Chaplain James, that's why
Yeah.
that's why we're unique aspects of all that is, because you have your tweaks, I have my tweaks. We're unique. We're not supposed to be the same. See, that's I think a lot of problems with humanity in the sense that, oh, you got to be the same. No, you don't.
No.
Yes.
I never
Yeah.
agree with that.
No. I'm not saying you are. I just no.
Yeah.
I'm saying in general. That's where the arguments and the fights come from. If they just allow people, I'm like, okay, I don't agree with that, but I agree with that, and like, if they just allow people and not feel like, I have to make this person agree with me. You know what I mean? That's I say the only definition of a fight is you're trying to impose your beliefs on someone else. I think that's the only, if people understood, well, no, that person can believe what they want to believe and I still love them and respect them, and that person can believe whatever they want to believe, and I love, long as we don't want to hurt anybody, don't put hands on people. I'm not, that we definitely don't. But I'm saying, as far as, we don't have to argue, we can love and respect each other regardless of how much we agree or disagree. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but most humans, they have limited mindsets and they can't expand that quickly. That's what I say.
But it's all
I think we should all try to involve. We should take everything in and take it all in and see how you could use it to evolve. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is. Like you said, the vibrations and the quantum physics. How can I bring myself to be a vibration? And yeah, that's what slows us down. That's because, stopping us because we get caught in this I'm right, you're wrong, thing. And that's a limiting thing. Even sometimes like words, like I don't get caught up in words. If you understand and realize you don't have to detail your expression of it to me, that's too limiting. because you say joy, happiness, or whatever. What difference does it make? How you feel it and how it goes with you is what's important, you know, not the words. See, that's another limiting thing many humans use.
Very true.
Foolish humans.
Very true. Words are extremely limited, and
Yeah,
words can be misunderstood very easily. And people don't want to
yeah,
pick up the phone and have a conversation. They rather just text and then get mad over a text, and it was a misunderstanding. But then they don't speak for
yeah.
5 years because they got mad over text. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I don't like this texting thing.
Me
I
either.
feel because it takes me we're getting too far away. You know, I like to talk and see a person, see their reaction when I'm talking to them, or how I make them react. Because I kind of, I like to have reactions when people talk to me on how it makes me feel. And, I want to do that, but you can't really do that now. Oh, how quickly things change.
I do try to tell people if they want a conversation, please. That's why I freely give out my numbers. I say if someone wants to have a conversation with me, please pick up the phone and call. Because I mean, our text is like, I'm meeting you. Oh, I'm running 5 minutes late. That's what texting is good for. But if I
Yeah.
want to have a conversation, please pick up the phone. That's what I ask people to do.
The best thing I like about I see one day I saw five people, they were out together and everyone was on the phone with someone else. Why do they go out together? You know what I'm saying?
Very true. Very true. Yeah.
All right. Now, Angela, there's some really good things in the chat from Eric and Angela. And I hope you all get a chance to save the chat and review it later, and in addition to getting the video. And Angela said, even though I can't unmute today, Caroline's message particularly impacted her because she had a very close friend who recently crossed over, but who also lost both her children in this life. And she goes on to say, it sort of emphasizes to me that she has come to peace with that life and is reunited with her two boys.
Oh,
I'm not sure if she was talking about me.
Oh no, she's talking about
That's
her close
somebody else.
friend
Oh, okay. Oh, who has
also
passed and now
and they
okay.
passed and they also had lost their two children.
I
yeah,
understand.
similar experiences.
I see. Yes.
Excuse me,
All right.
I think Miss Chang said something about a phone number. There is no phone number of hers in the chat.
It is in there.
Oh, well, it was there before you arrived, Helen. That's why you can't see it.
So
But
can she repeat it? I like to
Sure,
hear.
I'll try.
Don't worry, Caroline. I'll do it for you.
You'll do it for me? Okay. Thank you, Dan.
There you go. Can you see it now, Helen?
Well, let me open again. 1 second, chat. 1 second, chat. Oh. 1 second. Jump to lateness, to latest. Yeah. Just leave it for a moment. Okay.
All right. Well, we have to go soon, Helen.
Yeah, I know. I'm writing it down. Okay, 1 second.
I have enjoyed this tremendously.
Thank you, Caroline. That was a lovely presentation and
Marvelous.
And our souls have all responded to it. And hopefully we have a feeling of unity in this tiny little group of ours.
Thank you so much, Caroline.
Thank you for the meeting.
Thank you.
All right. Helen, you got what you needed?
Thank you so much. Thank
all
you.
Right.
Warm regards to Shula.
Oh, I'll give her your regards and give my regards to your daughter.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
All right. Thank you so